The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Attention Ditto Heads.
I do that same.
Attention Bo Scouts.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
It's time for the soul of excellence.
He is a radio host here in New York.
The Rush Hour is on the air.
Rush.
Now here's James Golden.
Who's reporting on what is happening on the ground there in Minneapolis, is confirming that today ICE officers in Minneapolis were conducting targeted operations when rioters, he say, began blocking ICE officers, and one of these violent rioters weaponized her vehicle, attempting to run over our law enforcement officers in an attempt to kill them. An act of domestic terrorism. An ICE officer, fearing for his life, the lives of his fellow law enforcement, and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots as a response. The alleged perpetrator was hit and is deceased. Thankfully, the ICE officers who were hurt are expected to make full recoveries, and we do pray for them.
You're gonna murder someone else? Come on, kill us all! You can't kill us all! You can't kill us!
Those sounds, of course, from Minneapolis. Welcome, my friends, to the Wednesday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, the fastest hour in American media. There's more. We might as well, and you can keep the music going if you choose. Welcome back. Carlos is back, folks. They let Carlos back in the country. He was out of the country. They let him back in. He had a great time. I will leave it for him if he wants to discuss the far-flung capitals around the world that he was visiting. International travel. He's shaking his head. I haven't asked him questions about what he did while he was on vacation for fear of the answer. Something might, Anyway. Cut number 4. Listen to ways as CNN was reporting on this incident in Minneapolis Live. Listen.
Dana, we're in the heart of Minneapolis. We're here on East 35th and Portland Avenue. And let me show you first, I'll show you who's on scene. That is Mayor Jacob Frey. He's the mayor of Minneapolis. To the side here on the left side of your screen, that is Police Chief Brian O'Hara. There is an enormous law enforcement presence here from multiple different jurisdictions. Our photographer is going to show you what the crowd looks like here, Dana. Mayor Frey is now leaving. I think you're probably starting to hear people yelling to him, but he is now leaving. He had spoken with some people on the edge of the crowd when he first arrived, according to a man who had video of it. He did not come back to the crowd. Now a crowd is following him down the street. But what you're looking at right now is the law enforcement response here. So you see Minneapolis Police. You see the Hennepin County Sheriff's Department. We've also seen the U.S. Marshals here. We've seen Customs and Border Patrol. But let me bring you up to speed with what we know. As you said, we know that there was a shooting involving federal law enforcement near East 34th Street and Portland Avenue. That was according to the city of Minneapolis. We do not yet know for sure what the extent of any injuries are or what prompted this. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has weighed in, saying my public safety team is working to gather information on an ICE-related shooting this morning. Again, Mayor Jacob Frey is here. This is all in the context of this ramped-up immigration enforcement that DHS has been touting. They say this is the largest immigration crackdown to date. 2,000 agents spread throughout the Twin Cities. This has been going on for a couple of days now. We know that DHS Secretary Kristi Noem was here in the Minneapolis area yesterday. And what we see now is this real peak here, where, based on our understanding, there was a shooting involving federal law enforcement here, and as Governor Tim Walz said, involving an ICE agent. We are learning to, trying to learn as much as we can. But let me just get you, another picture of the crowd here, because this is a city where these George Floyd riots are not far in the rearview mirror. And what I keep hearing from people in this area is they say, if you thought that was bad, this city is about to explode.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have more audio from CNN, which we may or may not get to. It's almost 5 minutes long. You can barely hear the reporter. These people, she tried to read the statement from ICE that was released, and these people went nuts. It's a near riot scene out there. If you've seen the video of it, there was a huge law enforcement presence because there were people throwing things at ICE agents. All this started, by the way, because protesters, as they continue to do, show up and try to interfere with legitimate law enforcement operations. They are egged on by the Democrat Party. They are egged on by media coverage in the mainstream media. ICE has been demonized. They have been called every horrible name you can think of. In fact, today, the man, one of the people that wants to be governor of California, Eric Swalwell, he of the Fang Fang situation, says that the Minneapolis police shooting was murder. So he's basically accusing federal agents of murder. I don't know whether you've seen the video of this. This woman's in an SUV. She's trying to do what a lot of these people do, block ICE agents from moving. She backs up, and then she pushes forward. There's an ICE agent right in front of the car, the vehicle. And apparently one of these ICE agents was hurt. And there were first reports that he had shot through the passenger window. He shot through the windshield. You shoot through the windshield if you're facing the car that's trying to kill you. Now, I'm going to leave some room. I'm going to say that maybe, I don't know what the possibility is, maybe in her haste to try to back up and then pull the car forward, maybe she didn't identify that she was hitting somebody. But you can't fault the officer, even if that's the situation. You've got, in the middle of this volatile situation, with this hatred pouring out of this crowd, and this crowd getting more and more agitated, a car is coming at you that can flatten you in a second and kill you and kill other agents. He reacted. Chuck Schumer is today the minority Senate leader, praising protesters. He said today he salutes the protesters. It turns your stomach. We need a quick and full investigation to get to the bottom of this. There should never be violence, but protest is an American right. Well, interfering with an active law enforcement operation is not protesting, and there is no right that any of these people have to continue to try to interfere with ICE operations. And they have been egged on by mayors like Jacob Frey, who spoke today, like Brandon Johnson out of Chicago, who has called for people to protect their land. Basically an incitement to violence. By J.B. Pritzker, by Karen Bass, by Gavin Newsom, by people like Ariana Presley, she's out talking today. Tim Walz, arguably one of the worst governors in this nation's entire history, is saying, don't believe the propaganda machine. I've seen the video. Don't believe this propaganda machine. The state will ensure there's a full, fair, and expeditious investigation to ensure accountability and justice. Well, what is he saying? Don't believe the propaganda machine? People that see the video have been posting, obviously, what they see. So don't believe what you see. Believe Tim Walz. We know how that works out, Mr. Walz. The President of the United States has issued a statement. He says he just watched the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator. The woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resistant, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer, who seems to have shot her in self-defense. Based on the attached clip, it's hard to believe he's alive, but he's now recovering in the hospital. The situation is being studied in its entirety. But the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. They're just trying to do the job of making America safe. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers from this radical left movement of violence and hate. Let's hear very quickly before we head to the break, cut to the Minneapolis mayor, Jacob Frey, and some of his remarks.
I am increasingly concerned because of the chaos that is being caused by these ICE agents that somebody is going to get seriously injured or killed. Somebody is going to get seriously injured or killed. And whether that is an ICE agent or a community member, we all know the tinderbox that could explode because of it. We all know that the federal government is looking for reasons to deploy more and more people to Minneapolis and blue cities around the country. We all know that we cannot afford to lose a single Minneapolis resident because they showed up and decided to protect their neighbors, because they showed up and decided to express their constitutional right to free speech. And so that concern is deep. It is held, by the way, not just by me and our residents and the people who are standing up behind me. The concern about getting somebody killed is also held by our police officers.
And later on, he went on to say that he wants ICE to get the F out of Minneapolis. This was earlier today, before it became evident that the woman died. Later on, he wants ICE to get the F out, and he used the word. Democrats are, look, the people that do bad actions are responsible for those actions. That said, the entire establishment wing of the Democrat Party has been egging their radical base to obstruct law enforcement operations. And why are they doing it? Because their political strength is derived from illegal immigrants. Pure and simple. If every illegal immigrant in this country was deported, the Democrats would lose so many House seats that they wouldn't see power, political power, again for generations. This is about protecting their power, and they could care less about the consequences that their hateful rhetoric is causing around this country. James Golden, Snerdley, fastest hour in American media.
Rush. This is the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Oh, Snerdley.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
Among the other things, folks, that I want to get to today, there was a hearing, House Oversight Committee, and you're not going to, well, yes, you will. The way the Democrats behaved during this committee hearing, and also the way that some Republicans performed, great. The Democrats had one witness that they brought in there that was a former J6 prosecutor. You know why they brought him in there. And you had the usual scenes from Ayanna and the ABWs. Ayanna and what's your name? Jasmine, who's still around. You had a major announcement concerning home ownership that came from Donald Trump today. I don't know whether you've heard about that. Donald Trump is issued an order that he wants to ban large investor groups, large investors, from scooping up the single home market, single homes. Now, I don't know how this is going to work, whether this is going to, obviously there's going to be some legal challenge to this. I don't know whether this needs congressional approval. But he's complaining that the price of housing is being driven up by these investor groups, and ordinary people can't get in and bid on a house, so he wants to put a stop to that. Also, he issued a warning to defense contractors about the way that they are charging the government and the time it takes to develop the weaponry. In other news, the Pittsburgh Post and Gazette is shutting down. They've been around for whatever. They just can't stand the price anymore. The United States of America sees oil tankers, including the one that's the Russian flag. Tensions are rising. Trump ain't playing. Also, Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, Hegseth have all had words to say about Greenland. That is still a reoccurring issue. Iran, the protests continue. In fact, a group of protesters over there have named a street in Iran after Donald Trump, and they're begging the U.S. to come help. We got all that and more. So just stay with us, whatever you do.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
Just so that I could put the whole, is this what you voted for question to bed, retiring that question, I'm going to let it be known that I voted for Trump so he could do whatever he wants. Okay? I voted for him to do whatever he wants. After all he's been through for this country, and for all that he's delivered for us, yo, Trump, you can do whatever you want. And if there is a way for him to get a third term, I'm all for it. I will vote for him again. He's earned that right with me. He has the next generation's best interest at heart. Everybody's playing for short term. Let me get you. Let me be an obstructionist. Let me get in your way. Like, if he doesn't deliver everything that he wants in this term and he's up for re-election, they saying it's unconstitutional, if they going to make a new amendment, whatever it is, whatever it takes, I will vote for him again. Call me delusional, call me whatever you want. He's earned that right. Whenever I wake up, see truth or see that he's done something crazy like what he did with Venezuela, I'm like, Yo, I ain't even think of that. But I agree. I'm riding with my dog. So all y'all keep asking that question, is that what you voted for? Yo, listen, I voted for him to do whatever he wants. So he could do whatever he wants. I'm going to be by his side, riding with
him. How you like that? How do you like me now? One of my favorite artists, the incomparable Kenny Loggins. I did a great interview with him because he's great, not because I'm great, because he's great. He was announcing on the interview, I asked him about, he's retiring. He retired. He said he wanted to spend time with his family. He's been on the road. He said for like 50 years or something, he's been on the road. He wants to be home with his family. But he's just one of the most amazing artists of the era. born in 1948, the incomparable. Of course, fans of Loggins and Messina, and then his solo career, so much. We could spend an hour talking about his music and still have more uncovered. Kenny Loggins. So many hits, too. James Golden, Snerdley with you here. Okay, let's get to the House. Let's start with this. Brandon Gill, this guy's name is Brendan Balu. He was a former January 6th prosecutor, obviously a witness for the Democrats. He's a native Minnesotan, and it'll be obvious when it's Jasmine's turn to hear why the Democrats wanted him. But I want to get this in. Brandon Gill from Texas did an extraordinary job with him on this hearing about Somali fraud. The House Oversight Committee cut 14. This is Representative Brandon Gill.
Again, thank you for being here. Let me ask you, does large-scale Somali immigration make Minnesota stronger or weaker?
Certainly stronger.
Certainly stronger. Do you know what percentage of Somali-headed households in Minnesota are on food stamps?
No.
54%. Do you know what that number is for native Minnesota-headed households?
Well, to be clear, a majority of the...
It's 7%. There's a big difference between 54% and 7%, is there not?
Excuse me, sir. Could I answer the question?
Let me move on. We've got a lot of questions here. What percentage of Somali-headed households in Minnesota are on Medicaid?
I don't know.
It's 73%. Do you know what that number is for Minnesota native households?
Again, you're using the phrase Minnesota native households, but the majority...
The number is 18%. That's quite an astounding difference. I think we would agree.
Can I answer the question, please?
Let me ask you one more, and then we can go on to that. What percentage of Somali-headed households are on welfare in general?
I don't know.
It's 81%. What about... let me just ask you, after 10 years of being in the United States, what percentage of Somali immigrant households continue to be on welfare?
I don't know.
The number is 78%. So even after 10 years, 78% of Somali immigrant households continue to be on welfare. Do you know what that number is for native Minnesota-headed households?
Again, you're using
non-Somali immigrant-headed households.
If I can just answer the question, when you're using the phrase native Minnesotans, the majority of Somali Minnesotans are as Minnesotan as any of us. They were born in the United States. It's only 8,000 of the 108,000 Somali.
Nevertheless, the welfare usage is astoundingly different. Let me ask you again, does that make Minnesota stronger or weaker?
Again, I'd like the opportunity to answer the question here. So, again, the majority of Somali Minnesotans are born in the United States, as I understand it.
Okay, well, what percentage of working-age Somalians who have been in the U.S. for 10 years or more, how many of them speak English very well?
I don't know.
About half. The answer is about half. That seems pretty low, doesn't it?
Boom. If I could just answer the question. If I can answer the question, because I don't want to answer your question. I just want to answer the question the way and draw. How dare you make a difference between the immigrant population and native-born Minnesotans? How dare you arrive at these conclusions? How dare you? Okay, also, on the side, before we get to the Democrats, let's find Byron Donalds. Byron Donalds, cut 11. This also from that oversight committee today.
I want to talk about use of funds. You've talked about some of these funds were used to buy property in Kenya.
Yes, sir.
Property in Turkey. Do I have that correct?
Yes.
Remittances back to Somalia.
Yes.
I think it's important for the committee to understand that these remittances in part are used in what's called the Hawala. I want to make sure I have the terminology right. The Hawala network. Ms. Robbins, can you speak to what the Hawala network is?
Yes. So it's an informal network where someone goes to a Hawala place in Minneapolis, which is like a money exchange or a money sending site, and they say, I want to send X amount of dollars, and then there's a receiving site in Somalia, and they put take the cash out. So money doesn't cross the border. It's an order for money here that gets transmitted to Somalia.
For the time, because I'm out of time, I want to expound. in Somalia and other parts in the Middle East region writ large. A Hawala network is a bunch of money exchangers, hand to hand, not bank account to bank account.
Exactly.
And what is clear in Somalia and other parts is that Al-Shabaab, the largest Al-Qaeda affiliate in Somalia, they have their hands all through this network. So taxpayer money, United States dollars, that are being remitted into Somalia, in parts, have been utilized or have fallen into the hands of Al-Shabaab. Do you think that's a correct assessment?
Yes, we have plenty of evidence of that, from money directly going to Al-Shabaab, but then also indirectly because they take a cut of whatever gets sent to Somalia.
Thank you so much, Chairman. I know I'm over. Thank you for the additional time.
Okay, so now let's turn to the Democrat side of that here, and we have more. I just can't get to everything, interest of time, you see. But let's check in with Representative Ayanna Pressley. Cut 9. And this is how Ayanna Pressley used her time at this oversight hearing today.
He was an election denier. So an election fraud lie. Now, he claims he did these things in the name of patriotism, but really he's just a criminal. So raise your hand if you oppose Trump's pardon of this Minnesota individual.
Ma'am, this grandstanding nonsense
This is not grandstanding.
Exactly
this is
what
accountability.
Minnesotans hate about D.C.
This is accountability, and you are hypocrites. So again, I will take your refusal to not
Mr. Chairman, order, decorum. She's off the rails.
Reclaiming my time. I'm not off the rails, please.
You are
Enough
totally
with your
off the rails.
Nancy,
Order.
enough with your tropes. Give me my time back.
Order, Mr. Chairman.
If Republicans were serious about reclaiming
me. You press my time. My constituent. You have no time left. You get to accuse me of things in this chamber.
You're out of time. You're out of time. We're done here. We're done.
Touch in out of time.
At least 10
Mr. Chair, she's out of time.
Time's expired.
Out of order and out of time.
Ms. Presley, you've already secured your MSNBC spot tonight. Your time's required. Chair recognizes Ms. Mace.
You're going to be so good on MSNBC.
Chair recognizes Ms. Mace.
And this administration.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chair recognizes Ms.
And
Mace.
Mr. Chairman, I agree. She's going to be a great host on MSNBC. This is my time.
I wouldn't want to jump in front of Ms. Mace if I were you, Ms. Presley.
I reclaim my time. This is my time.
I wouldn't want to interrupt Ms. Mace. It's her time. Chair recognizes Ms.
Mr. Chair, she did not get all of her time.
Mr. Chairman,
she wants to insult us for 10 more seconds.
What do we have to do to get this woman in order?
Her time is expired. Chair recognizes Ms. Mace.
You're going to be great on TV. You're really.
So that's how Ayanna Pressley used her time at this hearing on fraud. Now let's turn to the other ABW. You know what I'm referring to, right? Yes. I don't have to spell it out. So let's go to ABW number 2, cut 10. And
thank you so much. I just want to make sure I level set because it seems like we want to continue to, especially as we just heard those particular articles entered into the record, we want to continue to just make it seem as if you are Somali, then somehow you are a fraudster. And this administration has decided that it wants a target on their backs. And so when my colleague, Ms. Randall, decided that she wanted to talk about the threats that are being made towards various Somali people, the reason she brought it up is because this particular side of the aisle has a tendency of, if one person does something bad, especially if they are an immigrant, then we are going to cast aside that entire community. So I wanted to level set, and I appreciate your honesty because that's something that we very rarely get from my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. In fact, if we want to talk about fraud, I got a lot of fraud that we're going to talk about because we're going to get into this, but I am very curious to hear, let me ask you, Mr. Ballou, are you aware of allegations that $50,000 in taxpayer dollars have been given to someone that is currently sitting in this administration by the name of Tom Homan? Are you aware? Okay, that's a yes.
I am.
Okay. And last I checked, and correct me if I'm wrong if you have different information, but he was given that $50,000 in exchange for being able to
Look,
provide
she goes
contracts.
on and on for minutes and minutes. You've all heard these accusations before. This guy, Ballou, this prosecutor, agrees with her for the record, and he says that Tom Homan took it from some undercover agent. Look, we've been through all this before. This is Democrats. I wish Homan could sue this woman. Okay, moving on. So you heard from the ABWs. I want to level set I'm going to level set this because you got. I mean, imagine having to. Never mind. Okay. Marco Rubio. This is too long, and I wish we could play the whole damn thing. Because Marco Rubio rocks. We'll just play as much as we can, and then I want to get to Hegseth and Rubio. So cut 7, a bunch of reporters surrounding Rubio, and this is how it went.
Clarify your comments to lawmakers. Does the U.S. intend to buy Greenland? Does the U.S. intend to buy Greenland? Can you clarify your comments to lawmakers this week?
Well, that's always been the president's intent from the very beginning. He said it very early on. I mean, this is not new. He talked about it in his first term, and he's not the first U.S. president that has examined or looked at how could we acquire Greenland. There's an interest there. But so I just reminded them of the fact that not only did Truman want to do it, but President Trump's been talking about this since his first term.
The White House put out a statement last night saying that the military option is on the table. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. They said the military option is on the table. So is the administration really willing to risk the NATO alliance by potentially moving ahead with military operations?
What I think the White House said yesterday is what I will tell you now, and I've always said. The president always retained the option. Every president, not this president, every president always retains the option. I'm not talking about Greenland. I'm just talking about globally. If the president identifies a threat to the national security of the United States, every president retains the option to address it through military means. As a diplomat, which is what I am now, and what we work on, we always prefer to settle it in different ways. That included in Venezuela. We tried repeatedly to reach an outcome here that did not involve having to go in and grab and indict.
Okay, I want this whole thing for Saturday. Princess Di is going to be with us Saturday, and I want to talk about Rubio and Greenland. And I'm going to have to wait on the Hegseth thing, too, because time. This fastest hour in media, and I want to get this point in before we have to get to the next break. Do you know that we already have a relationship, a legal relationship with Greenland? Do you know that? We can pretty much do what we want over there. We have a Cold War pact with Greenland. It dates back to the Cold War, signed in 1951 between the United States of America, that be us, and Denmark, that be the Vikings. Well, they used to be the Vikings. They turned into something. Never mind. The Vikings used to be really, those Vikings were they used to kick some booty back in the day. Anyway, under this pact that we signed with the Denmark people back in 1951, we could pretty much open up whatever bases we have. We have one base over there now, but the agreement in place with Greenland already allows America to construct, install, maintain, and operate military bases across Greenland, to house personnel in Greenland, to control landings, takeoff, anchorages, moorings, movements, the operation of ships, aircraft, and waterborne aircraft in Greenland. We already have an agreement in place. We can move our military in there and build it up as much as we want to now under this pact. But we still want to buy the joint because we want, you know what else we want? We want some minerals rights too, is what my guess would be. James Golden, Snerdley, don't go away.
Rush. This is the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Oh, Snerdley.
It's the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
Rush. Now here's James Golden.
Folks, if you've ever watched Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, I mean, the reboot of that was one of the most incredible, I think, that it won an Oscar, and that's one of the ones that deserved to win. It's a great movie. So was the original series. We had our own version of that. Those of you old enough to remember the name Ulrich Ames know what I'm talking about. Ulrich Ames was at the top. He was the director of the CIA service branch that dealt, I believe, with Russian information. He turned spy. He was the chief of the intelligence division at the CIA. He turned into a spy, sold the Russians, information for $50,000 he offered them. It is believed that that information cost at least 10 CIA operatives their lives. Well, CIA operatives in the Soviet Union. Anyway, he was busted. He just croaked in prison. He was sentenced to life without parole. His wife was involved too. Bye. Peter Yarrow passed away. Peter, Paul, and Mary on this day in 2025, last year, just this day last year. So we're leaving you today with Puff, the Magic Dragon. Their big hit. We gotta go. May God bless and protect each and every single one of you, your families, and your loved ones. Love and gratitude for your being here, allowing me to be with you. God willing. We're back tomorrow for Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, the fastest hour in American media. I just love this song. I loved it when I was a kid. I still love it. I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?